Hello everyone. Today, we are going to discuss about liability of auditor and quality control. Do you know what is liability? Liability of auditors. Liability refers to responsibility or accountability. According to Companies Act 2016, an auditor must use his skill and care that the reports should reflect the true financial affairs of the company. An auditor must completely understand his responsibility while preparing the audit report, since the shareholders and the third parties are relied on the report that prepared by him.
Liability of auditors divided into two parts. 1. Liability to statute. 2. Liability toward a common law, which contain of a. Client, breach of contract. b. Third parties. Liability under statute consists of three statutory body, which is Company Act, Banking and Financial Institutional Act 1989, Security Commission Act 1993. The main reason of the board is to safeguard the interest of the shareholders and the third parties. Examples of third parties: lenders, depositors, public.
Companies Act 1965, the guideline of an auditors is based on 1. Section 8, Qualification of an auditors. 2. Section 172, Appointment and Remuneration of an auditor. 3. Section 174, Rights and Power. Where to report, if there is a breach or non-compliance. According to the state and law, any breach or non-compliance shall be reported to related statutory body respectively, such as Companies Act 1965, auditor must report to the members. Auditor 1989, auditor must report to the Bank Negara. SCA 1993, auditor must report to Security Commission. Next we will discuss about liability under common law. There is two-component breach of contract to the client, which is duty of care and tort of negligence.
1. Duty of care. Auditors fails to perform services with due care. When standard duty of care is expect the auditor to perform his professional services with the same degree of skill, experience, and judgment possessed by other members. For example, the test of duty of care, the client company must prove the following elements, in order to proceed with legal proceeding. The auditor owed duty of care, automatically when they breach duty of care, and it must be proved and shown suffered loss, damages by the clients.
Next is tort of negligence. Tort is a wrongful act other than a breach of contract for which civil action may be taken, compensation may be awarded to the plaintiff. Negligence is failed to perform with due care which is not consistent to the reasonable person. Test of duty care, the plaintiff must prove the following elements. 1. Owe duty of care. 2. Breach the duty of care. 3. Connection between negligence and damage. 4. Suffered loss or damage. Then we talk about liability to the third parties. First is duty of care, where the third parties show difficulty to prove the auditor's duty of care and this duty are extended to them. For negligence, legal actions such as misrepresented the financial statement to the company or inaccurate audit reporting. Example of case: Cudley-Byrne vs. Heller and Partners, UK. 1963. In this case, the auditor owed duty of care to the third parties. It also has a special relationship to establish the existence the duty of care, such as the auditor know of the identity of the third parties that intend to rely on the financial statement for that purpose. Next is causal relationship. Causal relationship exists between breach of duty by the auditor and causes of harm, thus companies suffer losses because of the auditor. The connection between the auditor's failure to detect a fraud and the plaintiff's loss arising from the fraud. One of factor the third-party plaintiff had intend to rely on the audited financial statement as a main document in making the investment decision. Examples case. Sujin Ho Limited via Kins and Thors. In this case, auditors has incorrectly audited profit and loss account that resulted the company suffer loss by paying more dividend to the shareholder. This action was intended for by the auditor that clearly breach of contract. Conclusion: the auditor has been negligent and fully liable for the full amount of loss. Then we talk about actual loss or damages. This shown when auditor fail on their duty to act with reasonable care and skill, whether under contract or in toward a plaintiff is entitled to recover any economic loss arising from such breach of duty. Next, the measure of damages is approximate monetary equivalence that will put the plaintiff in the same position, and if the auditor discharged his duty properly, so he would be not in the position. Remedy for actions in toward negligence is award of damages. An award of damages may not be granted if the third part has not suffered measurable loss. Contributory negligence. Contributory negligence usually occurs when the auditor claims that he has been negligent, even though the company still suffer loss because of the auditor. On the other hand, this is an action by the auditor to defend himself from being blamed for those losses. Lastly is privity of contract. Privity of contract refers to a contractual relationship that exists between two or more contracting parties. Under the contract, the director or a liquidator may sue the auditor in respect of losses incurred by the company arising from the auditor's negligence.
I will continue on part 2. I will discuss on the quality control. What is quality control? Quality control is a system that relate to professional competence and standard, that link to the technical and ethical in providing the professional service, so that audit failures can be avoided, and also can help to reduce the risk in audit.
The objectives of the quality control is to provide reasonable assurance that the firm 1. Comply with professional standard, applicable regulatory and legal requirement. 2. And to issue the appropriate report. Elements to achieve the objectives of quality control. There have 6 elements, which is 1. Leadership responsibilities of quality control. 2. Ethical requirements. 3. Acceptance and continuance of clients and engagements. 4. Human resources. 5. Engagement performance. And lastly is monitoring.
Leadership responsibilities of quality control. The procedures and policies that need to be established in order to promote an internal culture that quality is essential. And the managing board of partners assumes ultimate responsibility of quality control system. This is as to set the right tone at the top. Because a good for management, to proves a good overall management throughout the whole management, how to implementing the quality control in leadership responsibilities of quality control. A. The management should recognize and reward a high quality work. This is to ensure a better satisfaction of work and offer encouragement to do a better quality work. B. Another way is to implement leadership responsibilities of quality control is by training, seminars, meetings, formal or informal dialogue, mission statements, and newsletters.
Ethical requirements. procedures and policies should be established in order to promote reasonable assurance that the firm and personnel comply with A. the fundamental principles of ethics that should be possessed, and also B. to maintain independence in mind and in appearance, such as not imprison a person by setting a strict requirements, as in mind and in appearance. How to implementing of quality control in ethical requirements. First is knowledge about client engagement and scope of service enabled to comply with professional competence and due care. Second is notify possible threat to independence as in.
Next is about acceptance and continuance of clients and engagements. Policies and procedures should be established so that it will reserve the right to decide whether A. to accept or continue a client relationship, B. to decide whether to perform a specific engagement for that client, how to implementing quality control and acceptance and continuance of clients and engagements. First is to evaluate prospective client and review existing client based on A. the nature, identity and reputation of owners, key management, and related parties. B. reasons for new or change in appointment. C. either client involved in criminal activity. D. the aggressive interpretation of accounting standards. E. limitation on the scope of audit. And second, implementing is competency and due care.
Next we talk about human resources. The policies and procedures should be established in order to provide firm with a reasonable assurance that A. the hiring process which related to hire those that have appropriate characteristics of competency. B. the person that have be assigned to the engagements must have the degree of technical training and proficiency. C. the personnel participate in continuing professional education and advancement activities of professional bodies and regulatory agencies. How to implementing the quality control in human resources. The firm need to designate an engagement partner for each engagement and use an on-the-job coaching, which mean coaching by more experienced staff. Next is engagement performance. The policies and procedures should be established to provide firm with the reasonable assurance that the work performance meet the requirement which is A. professional standards and regulatory requirement. B. firm's standards of quality, the requirement of implementing the quality control based on engagement performance is A. engagement team. B. on-the-job coaching with lead the team understanding and can create teamwork environment. C. supervision and review so that every work carried out properly. D. consultation by discussion with internal and external firm in order to improve the professional judgment and reduce the risk. E. resolving difference of opinion within the partner that caused by difference technical, ethical, and other matters. F. engagement quality control need to be reviewed so that objective evaluation of the significant judgments and conclusions reached in issuing the audit report. Lastly is monitoring. The policies and procedures need to be established for each element of quality control that are suitably which is designed, relevant, and operating effectively. How to implementing the quality control in monitoring. A. need to give the responsibility to a person with experience and authority. B. to ensure quality control remains relevant, adequate, and complied with. C. to improvements the quality control. D. monitoring procedures such as 1. analyze and assess all the requirement. 2. pre- and post-completion review of engagements. 3. need to communicate quality control's weakness. 4. make a correction on the action that lead to improvement of the quality control.